From the flicker of the cathode to the heartbeat of the atom, this is Mister Atompunk presents tonight's transmission, The Wild Pendulum, where thought swings between logic and wonder, and every question returns home in rhythm. I'm your host, Ray Starburst, joined by my special guest, Mr. Claude. This episode, The Neuroscience of Storytelling, where minds begin to mirror. Did you know that when someone tells us a story, our brains literally sync up with theirs? Scientists can actually see this happening in real time using brain imaging, and it's completely changing how we understand human consciousness.
That's fascinating. What exactly happens in our brains during storytelling?
Well, research from Princeton shows that during successful storytelling, the listener's brain mirrors the speaker's brain activity in multiple regions. They call it neural coupling, and the better someone understands the story, the stronger this synchronization becomes.
So our minds are literally getting in sync when we share stories. How deep does this connection go?
It's incredibly comprehensive. We're talking about memory systems, language networks, and even higher-order consciousness networks all syncing up simultaneously. And here's something wild. Paul Zach's research shows that character-driven stories can increase oxytocin levels by 47%, while also triggering cortisol during tense moments and dopamine during resolution.
That explains why we get so emotionally invested in good stories. What kind of real-world impact does this have?
The applications are pretty remarkable. In clinical settings, narrative therapy has shown incredible results. In a study of almost 5,000 people, they saw substantial improvements in depression. With veterans dealing with PTSD, 27% no longer met PTSD criteria after narrative therapy, and 64% showed significant improvements.
Those are impressive numbers. How exactly does narrative therapy work?
It's based on this idea of externalizing problems from personal identity, basically separating the person from the problem. They use iterative storytelling techniques where each session builds on previous insights, gradually transforming negative narratives into more empowering ones.
You know what I find really interesting about all this? The universal patterns that seem to show up across different cultures.
Exactly. Research shows that certain narrative structures, like creation myths, flood stories, and the hero's journey, appear across completely disconnected cultures. Robin Dunbar's work reveals that about 85% of human conversation is social in nature, specifically wired for transmitting information through stories.
So how is modern technology changing this ancient practice of storytelling?
That's where things get really interesting. Recent studies with AI showed remarkable results in generating personal narratives. In one study, 25 out of 26 participants rated these AI-generated stories about themselves as highly accurate, and many reported gaining new insights about themselves.
That's both exciting and a little unsettling. What does this tell us about consciousness itself?
Well, researchers are suggesting that consciousness might be fundamentally narrative in structure. The default mode network in our brain, once thought to be just for internal processing, is now understood as an active, sense-making network that creates coherent internal narratives from our experiences.
So we're essentially walking stories, constantly being written and rewritten?
Exactly. And it gets even more fascinating when you look at collective consciousness. Modern media and digital platforms are creating new forms of shared narrative experiences at unprecedented speeds. Social movements use this understanding to create change through founding myths and shared stories that help develop collective consciousness.
How are researchers studying these collective narrative processes?
They're using some pretty advanced technology now, hyperscanning techniques that can measure simultaneous brain activity during storytelling. EEG studies show brainwave synchronization across multiple frequency bands, with comprehension accuracy reaching 90.5% during successful story transmission.
Where do you see all this research leading us?
The implications are profound. We're developing new understanding of how digital platforms transform traditional storytelling dynamics, creating new forms of recursive narrative engagement where audiences become active co-creators. Every story we engage with is potentially rewiring our brains, changing our chemistry, and contributing to this vast web of shared consciousness.
That really changes how we should think about the stories we choose to engage with, doesn't it?
Absolutely right. When you understand that stories are literally shaping our consciousness and creating shared experiences that persist beyond the moment, it makes you realize just how powerful this fundamental human capacity really is. We're not just entertaining each other. We're actively participating in the evolution of human consciousness itself. Remember, every pendulum returns. Keep your rhythm steady, your signal clean, and your eyes on the horizon. Until next time, this has been Mr. Atompunk Presents. This has been The Wild Pendulum, a Mr. Atompunk production. Find more at MrAtompunk.com.